Hey everybody, so today I'm jumping on into removing my previous set. I do want to say I am filming this voiceover pretty early in the morning, so I apologize if I sound just a little lethargic and if you can hear the lawnmowers going in the background. My neighbors are mowing their lawn, but I am starting off today doing some of my removal and prep, which I don't typically show in my videos. I have shown here or there, but I use a DSLR to film and I use typical battery packs for it, so I have to change them out pretty often, since if you've ever used a DSLR to film videos, you would know that the batteries really don't last that long on it. I can get maybe a half hour, I think, filming with one battery pack, so it tends to die really quick. And so because of that, I tend to cut out the parts that I feel like are maybe not the best footage, or maybe take a little bit longer and maybe aren't the most informative, and that tends to be my filing, since I shake my table quite a bit during the process and I feel like it's very repetitive, so I do tend to cut that out. But I do know that some people like it, and when I was learning, I really liked watching the filing portion of the videos that I was watching, since it really helped me see how people were holding their tools, how they were filing, tips and tricks for speed, bits, different things like that. So I do want to incorporate this more, and since I recently got a continuous charger for my camera, I should be able to add in more parts of my process to my videos. So let me know if this is something that you guys would like to see in more videos or see it more in depth. I didn't add my finish filing into this video, but I can. I just always worry that the videos are going to end up too long. So let me know if you would like to see that, and I will start incorporating that. The other thing is, let me know if you guys like the voiceovers. I know some people don't do any voiceover and they add some music. Others just kind of tell you what products they're using. They don't really go through like why they're doing certain things, or they just have different styles. So let me know if this style is working for you guys, or if you would like me to try to change some things up. So yeah, so what I did for my removal is I removed all of my 3D flowers as well as any polish or top coat, which if you are interested in the set I had on previously that I just removed, that is my Zany Nails X Knot Polish acrylic kit video. I will link that in the cards above. It is on my channel as well, so you can subscribe and check out my channel for that video. But I did remove all of that first, and now I went ahead and pushed my cuticles back, and I'm going in with a medium grit sanding band on about 4,000 to 5,000 RPMs. For my removal, I do about 20 to 25,000 RPMs. I tend to go pretty fast for removal to try to cut down on time, and I do use a coarse carbide bit for my removal. But for my prep, I use a medium grit sanding band, and I just kind of prep the back section of the nail to remove any cuticle, dead skin, things that are going to cause lifting on the nail. I also use this to remove minor lifting. So if there are very thin pieces of lifting on the nail that I feel like I may risk chunking into my natural nail, if I use the carbide bit, I do go ahead and remove that with my sanding band. I do also, for myself, like a smoother finish on the overall nail plate, so I do kind of run the sanding band over the entire nail. Not everybody does this. For me, I feel like it helps my fill product go over, no matter what product it is, gel, acrylic, I feel like it goes over smoother when I do that, so that's why I personally do it. For today, for my fill, I'm actually going to go back and do some Polygel. So I am using my Gershion Polygel in Cover Pink. I have not used Polygel since I first started doing nails 5 years ago now. I started in August of 2020 when everybody was kind of starting to learn to do their nails at home, and I really just kind of moved away from Polygel. I wanted to learn hard gel, and then I really took a long time to focus on my acrylic application and trying to learn that. So I really haven't had a chance to use my Polygel, and I was really excited to try, because I feel like I'm seeing brands come out with Polygel again a lot more now, and I just am excited to kind of see what I can do with it. So I am going to apply it today. For my base coat, I am using my ASP Nail Builder Gel in the clear shade. I'm using that just kind of as a base coat. So I apply my Young Nails Protein Bond first, let that dry for a couple seconds, and then I go ahead with one thin coat of the ASP Builder Gel. I cure that fully in the nail. I make sure that that my first base coat is cured fully. I don't do any flash curing for this. You want to make sure it's cured all the way through. So I go through and do this on all of my nails since I'm just doing a traditional fill. I'm not going to need to go ahead and apply a whole lot of product, so it's just going to be faster for me to do it this way. I do find if you are somebody who goes back and forth between acrylic and gel and are trying to figure out like speed techniques for doing it on yourself, I do feel that traditional gels, so polygel, hard gel, anything that requires you to really like build, sculpt the nail that's not like the full cover like Gel X tips, does tend to be a little bit longer doing it on yourself. If you have higher viscosities like the polygels or thicker builder gels that don't have a lot of flow, you can get away with doing multiple nails at once, but you do tend to take more time on your own nails. So for me, I find that the like traditional hard gels or soft builder gels in a bottle, things that really move a lot, tend to take longer on myself since I have to flash cure them in between each nail so that they don't flood my cuticles. So that's just one little thing I noticed, but for products like this, it actually helps cut down your time while also allowing you to use a gel product if you're doing it on yourself, because the polygel is going to act like acrylic. It's really not going to move at all until you cure it, but it will allow you to really shape and mold it into the position that you want it. It is really good for beginners. I think there is some technique in just learning like shaping and all that, but for the actual application piece, I feel like it's very simple and easy to learn. Now I am using rubbing alcohol. I believe this is 70% rubbing alcohol that I'm using, and I'm just going in with a polygel brush, which is typically a short, dense, flat gel brush or synthetic brush that has kind of a paddle or a spatula on the end of it to help remove the polygel from the tube, because the polygel in the tube is very thick and sticky, so you need something to really kind of pry that out, and then you can go ahead, apply it to the nail, and use that rubbing alcohol as your slip solution to kind of push the product where you want it to be without it getting too sticky. So the way that I do this really doesn't have a rhyme or reason. I just kind of go ahead and start patting it into place, moving it where I want it to be. As I feel like my brush starts getting sticky with the product, I just go back in with the rubbing alcohol, wipe my brush off, dip it again, and then go back in and start moving the gel. So again, it's very simple, very easy, and it's very beginner friendly. So I do go ahead and apply a couple nails. In between, I will do flash curing on this. The color that I'm using, although it's considered a cover color, I'm not using at such an intense amount that I feel like I can't do a flash cure to just set things into place to prevent me from accidentally gouging it out while I'm trying to apply the other nails. So I will go ahead and flash cure after I do like 2 or so nails to just make sure that that stays in place, and depending on how much I had to remove of any lifting or how thick my nail was after the removal of the previous product, I will add more or less of the polygel, but you really don't need a whole lot. You don't want your cuticles or your sidewalls to get too thick, and since my shape is already pretty much there, I just need a very tiny amount on each nail. So as you can see, I really just fill that back end and I just reapply my apex. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish this application, then I will tell you guys what I'm doing for the design steps. once all my polygel is cured and filed and shaped, I am going to go ahead and start my design. So I'm using my V Beauty Pure 123 jelly polish and my Not Polish Cat Eye number 16 Crimson Fire, and I'm going to layer these on the nails. So I am starting off with that cat eye. I am applying a full coat of that cat eye polish to the entire nail. You want to try to get this as perfect as you can, since I'm only going to do one layer of the cat eye. So I'm going to go ahead and apply that, then take my magnet and activate the cat eye. I'm just kind of pushing it all towards the center to kind of create that like mirror ball effect. As you can see here, I'm going to do the same thing on all my nails. Once I cure that first layer, I'm going to go in with that jelly polish and I'm going to layer this on top. Some people do this with a silver, and that's kind of where I got this like trend design that I wanted to try. They do tend to do a black polish, then layer over a silver cat eye, and then go in with the red jelly. I actually wanted to try it with a red cat eye layered with red jelly to see if that would give me the same effect with less effort, which I feel like it did. I do think that the red was not maybe as deep as some people's, but I felt like it gave me the effect that I wanted, with less steps and less layers on the nail. So that was really fun for me to kind of figure out. So you can play around with different color bases and different color jellies to get different effects. So for today, I wanted to do the trend, which is the cat eye with the red jelly over top and some silver chrome. I've seen it a lot and I really think that it looks cool, so I wanted to test it out and try it for you guys. So that's what I'm doing today, and because it is such a simple design, I can do a couple nails at once as I am going through, so you don't have to worry about taking extra time curing in between each, because I know cat eyes can be kind of finicky, especially if you're trying to do some intricate designs. But I'm doing something fairly simple, so it does help, especially if you're doing your own nails, like I said earlier, which can take a little bit longer. But I'm gonna go ahead and do that same process, apply the cat eye, activate the little cat eye particles with my magnet, and then go ahead, cure that, apply the jelly, cure that, and then I'll be back for the next step. After curing all those layers of gel polish, I'm going to go ahead with my Not Polished Metal Embossed Gel in silver. I'm taking a small liner brush and I'm just going to kind of create some squiggly lines or like a squiggly border around the entire nail. So I initially kind of start off doing very short, like small squiggles, and just doing kind of a line of a border. I didn't like how that looked. My nails have a pretty deep C curve, and sometimes when I do these kind of border designs, they get kind of lost from the top view. So I found that when I filled in the edges of the silver and kind of made it thicker and more like large squiggles, it helped give me the effect from the top view that I wanted, which was to be able to see that border a lot more definitively. So I did go back and do that. Since this gel is very thick, I could go in and do a couple nails at a time. So I just kind of played around with it till I found what I liked. Then I went in and cured. Now this gel, I'm still kind of learning how to use it just because it's so mirror-like that the gel has a hard time curing fully. So I do 2 full minutes on my high setting on my lamp. Depending on your lamp, you're going to have different settings, but I do 2 full minutes to try to make sure that it cures as thoroughly as possible. There are some times where along the free edge of the nail, I still get some chipping even after top coating, but I do try my best to apply it as thin as I can and cure as fully as possible to try to minimize that as much as I can. If you know any tricks for using these kind of chrome gels, let me know. I personally feel like they're just a little too finicky. I do like them and they're easy to apply, so doing the actual design is much easier than using a chrome powder because it's not as messy, but I just feel like I get a lot of chipping. Not that you can't get chipping with chrome powders and things like that too, because they kind of interfere with the gel curing process, but I feel like this, I always get that, whereas with chrome powder, if I apply it right, I don't necessarily always get that. So let me know if you've had this same issue and if there are things that you've learned to try to fix that. But I'm gonna do this on every single nail. We're going for a pretty simple design today, so I'm gonna do the same process all over and then I will come back at the end. Once I have that silver fully cured, I'm going in with my D&D No Cleanse Gel Top Coat. I'm doing 2 layers of this, so I apply 1 layer and cure it for 30 seconds. Then I go in and apply a second layer and I cure that for 1.5 to 2 minutes. I tend to slightly over cure than what it asks for on the instructions, mainly because I like to just make sure I have that full cure and I don't have any wrinkling, chipping, or peeling risks when I do my nails. So that's what I do, but you can just cure according to the manufacturer directions if that's what you prefer. Other than that, that is it for this look. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was really fun for me to do since I got to try out this nail trend that I've been seeing and loving all over Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, but I got to do it with products that I already have and do it my own way. So really you can recreate a lot of these nail looks that you see online with your own products and doing your own techniques. So definitely try out different ways of doing designs because you will be surprised at what effects you can get. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thumbs up if you did. Comment below letting me know what you guys thought and what you would like to see from me in the future. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. It really means a lot to me. And other than that, I hope you guys are having a wonderful day wherever you are. I appreciate all your guys' support and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye everybody.